Premium deli and meats, excellence in every bite.
The power. To shatter the strongest. Conquer the indestructible with Ronex's collection of angle grinders.
Chic Leisure Limited, making life easier. Our renowned great tasting vermicelli comes pre-cut in regular and parch, packaged to make preparation simple. Attention all doubles vendors and roti makers, try our high quality pre-sifted bromate free all-purpose and whole wheat flour, low price and conveniently packaged. For wholesale and retail prices, contact Chic Leisure Limited, Warrenville, Conopia. Chic Leisure Limited, quality you can trust.
So we're going with that. You know what I mean? We have so much thing to talk about, you know. We hope that it start the program.
Look, they catch you. Yeah,
all right. I know that. Assalamu alaikum and good
everyone.
Evening. Welcome again to Breaking Barriers. Rain all over yesterday and today. I hope no area is flooded. I didn't see anything in the news. But I hope no one gets flooded as the water comes on and flood those channels. So tonight, I am Nazem Ishmael, your co-host.
And I'm Richard Jagisa, your other co-host
here. Attorney at Law Richard Jagisa. We have a lot of law explanation in the law to do tonight. Plus, we have a little issue with the President, El Presidente. And also we have to discuss a little thing about Mr. Emry Brown.
Right.
Emry Brown finding him out all of a sudden.
The voice, you know, they say,
yes.
Well, as you open that talk, you know, they calling Penny the ENT specialist. Because, like, as she come in power, the whole appear them find their voice.
Everybody find their voice, and Penny loses.
Oh, God. All right, Penny not making any sense, eh?
I'm telling you.
Penny not making any sense, but we'll get it.
She just making 2 cents.
Which was it 2?
She's Penny, so she making 2 cents.
Just at these 2.
All right, so, Richard, which one you want to get the ball rolling with?
Well, you raise an interesting topic while we're waiting to come on. Now, we have the CEPEP advice. Right. That those PNM lawyers took. They took it 24 hours too late, but they took it. I'll deal with that in a minute. You raised an interesting topic. You raised the issue about Emry Brown. You want to open with that one?
Let me go with it.
Let me go with it. Guys, we have the Emry Brown video. Let's open with that one.
Now the volume on it kind of a little low here, but once we show him on the screen. Come guys, we have that one ready? Now all of a sudden, Emry Brown find his voice. Before the election, Emry Brown had no voice. He wasn't even going up for a seat.
Right, look, we have it.
Let's see if we could up the volume a little bit, please.
Ongoing, relentless attacks on the independent senators with this clear strategy.
All right, we're not getting it at all in the studio here. But
we can probably come back to that one then.
I think the volume was a little low on that one. So we'll just probably have to talk over it. Now he's talking about dictatorship. Now where was Emry Brown prior to the election for the 9.5 years? He didn't see dictatorship within the PNM? He didn't see that? Emry Brown, you're somebody I used to look up to. But since the election, when you say you was going up for Diego Martin West and you boil down like Baji, and you make a full circle and come back, I have lost all respect for you. And further, I remember quite clearly a friend of mine in Bamboo here who wanted help for his son when he was in BVI. He was liaising with the Foreign Affairs Ministry, and you all didn't help him at all, a citizen of this country. He didn't get sick here and went to BVI. He got sick when he was going to a cruise, and the layover was in BVI. At present, he is still in Mount Hope Hospital. He wanted help to bring his son via air ambulance, and you all did nothing for him. Nothing. So, Emry Brown, cool yourself. And all the time you wasn't talking, continue what you was doing before now. Don't talk.
And I think that is good advice, and if you're looking for good advice, they could check we, because we give real good advice on the show,
Yeah, but you're giving the attorney all the advice.
No, man, that's what the profession is. That's what we call colleagues in the profession friends and learned friends and so on. Before I hit them for 6, I want to shout out a big fan of the show from Faizabad, Auntie Dulari Seni. Dulari Seni. Yeah, she's watching the show every Wednesday and a rerun every Saturday twice.
All right, that's very good.
So big shout out to you.
Miss or Mrs. Dolari?
If I only tell you that, you had to sleep on couch at least once a week already, All
right, no, I want to address and say that thank you for
I just call she Auntie Dulari. Auntie Dulari.
Auntie Dulari, thank you very much.
All right, good. So guys, we have Kamala Race's drinking limit. Let's get that going. Let's start from the small stuff, 8:15, 8:20 is when I just want to hit the big one. So, for those of you who do not know, Kamala Prasad-Visesa, the Prime Minister, announced on Monday night that she intends to propose to her cabinet, her central government, to raise the legal drinking age in this country to 21 and to raise the age for gambling and smoking marijuana and so on to 25. So I think that's good. I think that's something. I don't think anybody should be, gambling and drinking and smoking and so on. But all right, fine. Some people do it. And I think raising it from the tender age of 18 to 21 and 18 to 25, as the case may be, is a move in the right direction. It shows, caring for the young people. It shows caring for the building of mental capacity for the younger generation and so on. So what's your thoughts on that?
It's good initiative.
Yeah.
But I think it is really too late.
You think it's done gone?
It's happened now? Yes. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Because the amount of young people we have here now, it have children as much as 14, 15 years who are already addicts.
Yeah.
So yes, the news is welcome, but to me, it's a little too late.
Well, there's a generation that is going to benefit from it.
Yes.
So let's be at least happy for that. They weren't there for 10 years. So for 10 years, they couldn't have done anything like this. So at least it's coming full circle. You know what else is coming full circle now? We have We have, well, there are two other issues just small issues I want to touch on. Reform in the FUL process. You know that's something we've addressed on this show a few times. So for those of you who do not know, there we go. So Firearms stakeholders back and support the PM's plan to reform the FUL process. All right, we've heard from, I think it was at least two. I know Paul Nahus is one, and someone else supported the proposed legislative reform. All right, we're not going to get into it too much tonight because we've addressed it at length. You come back to me. But it's
Jethro John.
Right.
One.
So it's simply this, Uncle Nazim, it's simply this. There are over 25,000 FUL applications in the system right now, today. 25,000 people applied for FUL. Not all of them require.
Right.
Some of them may believe that they need it, that's why they apply, or believe that they deserve it. But not everybody that date does get a wife. So some people apply and wouldn't get. So what do we do? What do we do? My proposal, my humble proposal is this. So the Prime Minister has already said that she is going to amend the legislation for FULs to take it away from an arbitrary decision maker, the Commissioner of Police and the officers. Because sometimes your permit application could be denied simply because an officer find you're not living in a good place, or because he find the place you say you keep in the firearm is not appropriate. Yeah, it's too subjective. It's opinion based. So there's going to be amendments to the legislation, and my thinking is, well, what's going to happen to the 25,000 pending applications? Here's what I say. I say those 25,000 applications need to be dealt with urgently. And there are going to be applications that can be granted, and there are going to be applications that have to be denied. The ones that are denied can simply be denied with reasons. Well, we deny you because your application is too old, the documents are outdated. We would normally propose that you bring in updated documents, but because the legislation is going to be amended soon, we recommend that you hold your hand on reapplying until the new legislation comes into force. A simple denial letter, and it makes sense. Yes. And if I was someone waiting in the pipeline for 7 years, let's say, for 7 years, and I am now being denied on this basis, but I'm being advised to reapply under the new legislation, the pending legislation, then I will be okay with that.
At least you know you're on the list. You've been considered.
Correct. And it's only lawful and appropriate that the Commissioner of Police treat with the 25,000 applications. You can't just ignore it. You can't just turn your back on it. I think that's unfair to the applicants. Albeit that some of the applications will be denied, right? But there are some that have to be processed. All have to be processed, some have to be granted. Now, let's say an application is pending 7 years, 6 years, 5 years. I think those should be denied on the basis that the documents are outdated, it's too long. People have moved. The consent that you got from your wife may not apply. So instead of putting the applicant through all of the headache and the stress to go back and get medicals, to go back and get permission from the wife, to go back and get updated deeds and company records and bank statements, you tell the applicant, listen, your application is old, outdated documents, hold your hand on reapplying for 6 months. And when you reapply, you will reapply under the old file number. So as you said, you'll get a speedier decision.
So you're still in line.
Correct. Good. And I think that's an okay approach. Another item I wish to suggest is the ones that have to be granted should only be the ones that have filed recently, because those documents are not outdated. So let's say 2 years, 3 years, 4 years ago. Someone who felt that their life was threatened 2 years, 3 years, 4 years ago, it's very likely that their life continues to be threatened now, right? Given our crime rate, our circumstances, given the general basis, the genesis why people tend to apply for FULs. It's usually people who feel some sort of threat. A lot of victims of extortion apply. Women who are subject to violent relationships, they tend to apply. And I'll get to that in a second. So my suggestion is firstly, to treat with the 25,000 applications, deny certain ones that are too old, and seriously consider the ones that have just been applied for. The consent will still be up to date, the bank statement will still be up to date, your ties to Trinidad and Tobago will still be up to date, the safe that you purchase is still going to be a working safe, So seriously consider those things, those applications, and consider granting those applications. And that happens while legislation is being proposed, there's consultation, there's amendments, the new legislation comes into force, you're going to take some time to put in the mechanics, the mechanisms, and so on. They're going to take some time to put in those things. And while that takes place, we have the old application process being followed, and I propose followed in the manner that I suggested earlier.
Right, one question. Now, you said that the 2 to 3 years application should be considered first, right?
Yeah.
What about if someone's come out and say, no, well, I put my application 5 years now, or 10 years now, and how someone could come 3 years and get bypass me now?
Right.
And I have the same issues like you have.
Right. Well, I'm saying it's you walk in front of the camera,
No, I got push up.
Security, I'll ever make sure these people walk properly. Yeah? Anyway, so, right, I understand the point. What I'm saying is you're going to put an already overworked firearms permit unit in the headache, the pressure, the distress in calling that 10-year-old applicant in to give another interview, to make sure his wife is still around to give consent, to look at the children who are still in the house, to make sure they're, to look at the safe. The safe might not even be working anymore. In order to avoid putting the public servant through that, you blanketly deny, those old ones.
All right.
Now remember, you raised an interesting point. You phrased it in a way that I think a lot of people will. Well, why I get bypassed? How come somebody who apply after me get through?
Right.
You're not getting bypassed. Your file number remains the same. When you reapply, you come to the front of that new application process. And remember, that application process is going to be more accessible than the current process.
Well, as you stated there now, that brings some clarity to it.
Mm-hmm. And I even think some applications, let's say 2 years ago, a man made an application for an FUL. He told the police, I need it now because they're threatening me, they coming by my house, they're extorting me, they're telling me they know where my children live and so on. And really over the last 2 years, something happened. Let me say a kidnap. Let me say his family is subject to kidnap. That's an extreme circumstance. That's a very extreme circumstance. I think he should be granted it 6 months or maybe 1 year on a temporary basis. So by 1 year from now, when the new legislation comes into force and the mechanics are there and so on, and the rubric is there, he has to reapply. His permit expires. His permit automatically expires a year from now, but he's protected because he is at risk. He's shown us that he's at risk and he is a victim. Now, I mentioned something earlier and I promised to get back to it. What about women? Women who are subject to abusive relationships. Now, abusive relationships could be from your husband, could be from your uncle, could be from somebody you're living with, could be from different situations. And it's not just wives. And we had all this talk some time ago. The great Faris Al-Rawi came up with this brilliant piece of legislation, the pepper spray. Of course, we've discussed that on the show as well, and we've identified that out of how much? A couple thousand applications, only a handful were granted.
But I think from what I understand, people have pepper spray in their possession. They're not even waiting for...
You can't wait. How you go wait? So, all right. So what I propose, now there are many flaws with that piece of legislation. One is they tacked on pepper spray to firearm legislation. So you already overworked firearm permit unit, now have to double work. Now have to look at pepper sprays. Pepper spray in England, in US, over the counter. I raised this point before, and I say again. You know how bad things have to be for a woman to reach a police station with child in hand, can't go home, black eye, hair being pulled and so on. You know how bad things have to be for her to reach the police station to ask the police for some assistance, for some help. No protection order, no piece of paper helping her.
No.
When she go home, it's licks. She has gotten to the point where she applies for a pepper spray permit so that she can defend herself in a life-changing, a life-ending, potentially life-ending situation. And you want to tell me she had to wait 2 years, 2.5 years, 3 years for you to determine if she deserves it? No. I say the same thing as I said with the FULs. You can grant these permits very quickly and very easily. I mean, how much use a pepper spray has? 1, 2 spray and it's done.
What about age restriction?
Well, the legislation already has age built into it. I think the age restriction is fine. I don't think you have to interfere with it.
21 years?
But is it 21?
I'm not sure.
I'll have to double check. I think, I'm not sure if it's 21, but I remember at the time that I reviewed the legislation, I remember I didn't take an objection to the age restriction. Because I think there are exceptional circumstances and exceptions you can make too. Right. But that being the case, what I'm saying is, I heard what the Prime Minister had to say. And I heard that people, especially women, can be granted pepper spray permits by police officers, by the sergeant in charge of the police station in extreme circumstances, and I think even expand that to municipal police, right? Because these pepper sprays, 1-time use, 2-time use, and it's done.
Once you have a proper identification, you log all the information properly.
Of course, and we have to remember that this is a balanced law. If a person uses a pepper spray to assault you, you can lay a charge against a person for assault. So the pepper spray is solely a self-defense mechanism. And I say, again, it is sad to see a former Attorney General claiming that the pepper spray permit law was this grand thing when 6 months, a year and a half, so little people, so few people got pepper spray permits, all right? Because if you read the papers almost every day, you still see battered women, domestic violence victims, people who could have just, if they rest their hand on a pepper spray, could have saved their lives or the lives of children.
Correct.
All right? So that's my view on that situation. I think at the end of the day, we are seeing positive change, and I am glad to see FULs and pepper spray permit on the front burner. That's something I feel very strongly about. And I'm glad to see that I think 68 days in government, we see our Prime Minister proposing and directing legislation to address these very serious issues in our country.
But these are things that were spoken on the platform.
So a promise come and delivered. Okay,
it's not like the previous government where they promised so many things and nothing, hardly anything came to fruition.
Yeah. You
understand? So at least, and people have a problem with that still. People still have a problem with how the government is running its business, and they are sticking to what they promise people on their manifesto. But I think the main contention people still talking about is the 10%. And they just have to hold a little strain.
Yeah.
Hold a little strain. I have a suggestion for the 10%. If they can't pay the 10% now, give them 5% now. And when the economy kicks in and we're in a better footing, at least they will get a little kakada with the 5%. And then they could get with the union approval, that is, they will get the next 5% down the road.
Yeah.
You think about that?
Yeah, I mean the financial advisors on that will have to really propose how that is handled, if it's staggered as the case may be, and so on. But yes, I think that's a good proposal. That's an excellent proposal. It's 8:20 now. You want to take our first break. When we come back, we hit the CEPEP situation, legal withdrawal, and then we'll move on to some other issues.
But I have a witch I want to talk about.
Oh, well, fix up.
But when we come back from the break,
you sure?
Yet have a witch.
All right, no problem.
Remember the witch who say jump over the wall?
I have it here.
Jump over the wall.
Yeah.
And deal with them.
Yeah, watch me. She belong in the PNM, Them is losers inside there, Them losing in low court, high court, up, down. Oh God, don't catch you in a game of all fours as a partner, You lost.
Right. So when we come back, we deal.
When we come back, we deal with it.
All right, folks. So let's go on our first break.
Introducing the finest selection from premium deli and meats. Savor the bold flavors of beef salami, beef pepperoni, and chicken ham. Indulge in our diced beef bacon and perfectly sliced beef bacon. Explore the rich taste of smoked beef and tender roast beef. Treat yourself to our juicy jumbo chicken hot dogs and beef hot dogs. Top it all off with the delicate flavors of smoked turkey breast and our premium whole turkey, all halal certified for your trust. Delivered to you by Chill Foods, premium deli and meats, excellence in every bite.
The power. To shatter the strongest. Conquer the indestructible with Ronex's collection of angle grinders.
Chic Leisure Limited, making life easier. Our renowned great tasting vermicelli comes pre-cut in regular and parch, packaged to make preparation simple. Attention all doubles vendors and roti makers, try our high quality pre-sifted bromate free all-purpose and whole wheat flour, low price and conveniently packaged. For wholesale and retail prices, contact Chic Leisure Limited, Warrenville, Conopia. Chic Leisure Limited, quality you can trust.
Ronex's premium quality.
Mitsu Air Limited, authorized Mitsubishi air conditioning dealer. No need to replace your air conditioning units ever so often. Split units, cassette, ductable, CTVIF systems and much more. Mitsubishi Electric has long been powering industries and providing solutions for healthy living. Mitsu Air Limited boasts the industry's first 10-year warranty on all parts and labor. Inverter units are also available. Don't hear it, just feel it. Mitsu Air Limited, 246 Eastern Main Road, Barataria. Give us a call at 674-4000 or 675-4000 or email us at mitsu.limited@gmail.com.
For the everyday lowest prices on all grocery items, trust Low Cost Supermarket for the widest variety of quality products at low prices. Freshly picked fruits and vegetables, healthy products for your well-being, high quality meat cuts, and a warm and friendly service. Low Cost Supermarket, Southern Main Road, Conopia.
Okay, welcome back, folks. Now, I wonder if a lot of people will remember this person. You could put the picture on, guys. A lot of people will remember this and remember it for the nasty.
You must warn people before you do people that, look, I was drinking my coffee.
Oh, God, sorry.
I'm drinking my coffee and you can spit it out.
Sorry, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have an article here today published commenting on the victory of Dr. Rudal Munilal in the Court of Appeal. Important point, eh? Yeah. Court of Appeal. Them fellas and them just lose in High Court, lose in Court of Appeal, who get condemned in the Privy Council and them still going, eh? Yep. And look at the lawyers, the bottom paragraph. Davy was represented by Michael Kwamena, SC, right? Big golf partner of the former Prime Minister, big board member, big lawyer for, what it was, Petrotrin, NGC? Can't remember. Or both, all right? Larry Lala, we pick it up for?
Yeah,
Larry Lala SC. Oh God!
No, wait.
Is you call him man?
Wait,
Lola?
I'm checking something. Davy was represented by Michael Kwamena SC and Gitanjali Gopi Singh. Larry Lala SC and Taruna Mangru represented Munilal.
Right. So Taruna Mangru versus all them heavyweights, boy.
I'm telling you, boy, and here now. The nasty thing this woman say about people, boy.
Right. All right. So let's get into what happened now. So for those of you who do not know, I think it's 2016, right? Yes, 2016. She published 2 articles in the Mirror newspaper against Rudal Munilal. Oh God! Oh God! Oh God!
Zoom it back out. Zoom fast, fellas.
And now talk to them about it. You know.
Carry she back a little further. She not good for viewing.
Oh God! Look, they blur it. All right, I'm trying to get the award. Okay, so in 2016, she made certain comments against the now minister, and the award was 500,000. All right, and legal cost, and it went up to the Court of Appeal, and the Court of Appeal said it is not excessive. All right, the appeal panel also found that the compensation ordered was not excessive as it fell within the lower end based on the serious nature of her allegations and impact on Munilal's reputation. Right, calling for, and this is important because a lot of people losing themselves on social media, calling for responsible public discourse even when engaging in political commentary. The panel stated, as the panel of the Court of Appeal stated, that there must be a balance between freedom of expression and protection of a citizen's reputation. This is in a defamation lawsuit. People have to be careful. The panel comprised of Justice of Appeal Prakash Musai, Justice of Appeal Kokaram, and Madam Donaldson Honeywell. And it's very important that, one, we be careful. Two, this PNM people, vloggers and bloggers, and because there's another one who's doing it as well, There's another one who's doing it and losing cases and just refuse to pay. All right? And these people have to be very careful of what the road that they're going on, because one like me already applied for contempt of court, and you're in jail, yes?
Now, here now, I recently watched the video again, and I had seen it before. But when I listened to this, boy, this woman, I tell you, here now, and I show people of her race hearing this woman talk, if they support what she said, they're worse than her. The things this woman say.
There are a lot of people support them.
She's talking about when Indian children come to school, they're smelling like coconut oil.
Yeah. What about the statement when she made
coming out of the hair?
Yeah, when Indian people used to walk in with sari.
And she talking about how it's because of PNM they move away from that and they see the way. It's because of hard work.
Correct.
Any race could achieve. It's not the Indian people use the system they had and they progress.
Yeah.
If you want to sit down and don't do anything and remain in a gutter, that is you. You stay right there. You could take people out of the gutter, but you can't take the gutter out of them. So that is
and
what
for that
that is what going
that
on.
mouth costs her $500,000 plus legal
and she might,
fees.
next thing you know, she might cry bankruptcy.
Yeah. But what I don't understand is how does she have money to pay for not one but two?
Yes.
Senior counsel, two. But the time to pay the judgment, she doesn't have money. I think there is something in court in our system called security for cost. I think security for cost needs to be opened up. It needs to be broadened. People who are serial litigants need to start putting money in court as the first hearing call.
Right. You get a refund.
You get a refund if you win the matter, plus you win, well, you get costs from the other side, so you're making money. But if you're losing all of these matters constantly, and there's a trend, right, and you're retaining the biggest and brightest and best lawyer in the country, but time to pay judgment now, you're filing bankruptcy, you're not liquid, you have no money, you don't have any assets, I find that's foolishness. We need to broaden security for cost as a concept, as a jurisprudence. All right?
But I think we could take our photo off now because that is very distressing.
Yeah, let's take... Yeah. And you know what? As we talk in this law talk, already. Guys, let's go with the video first, right? Because we've talked... While it's playing, I'll talk. we've heard a lot of talk about who will suffer when CEPEP contractors go home, right? They call for protests. Look at protests in Port of Spain.
And it's about too much contractor. Faris numbers keep going up.
Look at MPs.
He said 10,000, now it's 20,000. I don't know, it might be about 50,000 sometime this week.
Right. Look at the people who protesting, right? Now the ones in the middle, in the fanciest suits, the nice shoes, right? But they say that they are representing the poor people, which they say they're surrounded by here, right? They say these are the people suffering, right? Look at them very closely. These are the people suffering, they say. Come back to me now. So what they do? They file case in court. They file injunction. And last week, I warned them.
Yes.
And last week, I tell them, I say free advice. I say, come PNM people, come. Come PNM lawyers, come. Take some free advice. Don't file that case. It flawed on ground 1, ground 2, ground 3. They go on and they file a case. They go on and they file a case for, well, first of all, let me see who filed the case. Guys, let's go PNM legal CEPEP. PNM legal CEPEP. Let me show you who filed the case. Look who filed the case. Look who filed the case. Faris Al-Rawi, Larry Lala. And who's that last one there on the right-hand side? Zoom in a little bit now, man.
Who's that name?
Can't see it. All right, Sinclair O'Neill. Sinclair O'Neill.
And
right?
who was leading the team?
Just now, we come into that. Matter of fact, let's go to the other one. Stephen Samuel Contractors. So they filed case. Zoom in on the top right-hand corner. I'm led by Larry Lala SC and we're instructed by Kareem Marcel. Together we act for and on behalf of the intended claimant applicant Stephen Samuels Contractors Limited. Scroll along ever so gently there, please. Right there. The intended claimant Stephen Samuel Contractors is a duly registered limited. That is a lie. It is not a duly registered limited liability company incorporated in 2018. Come back out. You know why it's a lie? Because the company was struck off. The company was struck off and therefore does not exist. The company therefore cannot file a court case. The company does not have personal representation. And what is even more shocking, come back to me now, what this addresses, how that company get its contract renewed on April the 14th in the first place.
These are the questions that need to be answered.
When CEPEP renewed the contracts, April 14 to April 28, in that window, did they not ask for NIS payments? Did they not ask for clearance, VAT clearance? Did they not ask for company incorporation documents, for green fund levy tax receipts? Did they not ask for an updated company incorporation certificate and so on? What was the internal process at CEPEP to renew the contracts in the pre-election window? What was the process that allowed a deregistered, a struck-off company to get a renewal days before the general election? That process was a flawed process because it missed a struck-off company. In fact, according to Minister Saddam Hussein, 32 struck-off companies, 32
got contracts.
Who got renewals, yes, 32 at least, he says. So that process is flawed in so many ways. Tonight we have discovered one. The participants of that process now stand criminal liability because no background checks, no certification, no authentication, but you're playing smart with foolishness with public purse funds. You're playing smart with foolishness with the people money, and you're awarding contracts to companies that don't exist. Let me ask you something. Samuel Contractors, suppose you have a CEPEP gang outside, and a member of the gang fall ill and get damage in the road, which insurance company covering that person?
Or a car run off the road because they're working on the highway.
Right.
And they get knocked down. Who's standing liability for that? Exactly. Right? The company doesn't exist. The company does not exist. How is the company paying workers?
How is that bank account operating for the company to receive funds, to pay workers, to pay NIS and so on? What checks and balances were put in place? I understand this particular company was struck off, I think, February 2025. So what checks and balances were put in place to capture defunct companies who that operate badly and poor corporate governance, who receive government contracts? This Stephen Samuel person, this person has to stand some serious liability. Serious liability, because how is it that he received a contract, signed for a contract, knowing that his company was struck off?
But what about the people who selecting the contractors and not doing their due diligence?
Correct. Yes. Yeah. Those people also, I think, smart with foolishness with the public purse funds. That is absolutely ridiculous. And listen, an investigation has already been launched. All of the participants in this exercise, all of the government officials in this exercise need to be held accountable.
I agree with that.
Need to be held accountable. All right? Release the names. Release the names of the selection committee, of the contract renewal committee. Who was the lawyer? Who was the advisor to CEPEP? Who was the internal legal counsel for CEPEP? Who authorized these renewals? Where's the cabinet note? Who brought the cabinet note to the then cabinet? Who approved it? This is absolute ridiculousness. You all approved contracts for millions of dollars for a company that does not exist, and then they want to say they're fighting for poor people. Which one of them in the crowd there named Stephen Samuel? Which one of them in that crowd we just saw was Stephen Samuel? He is the contractor they filed for. Eh? They never filed for the poor person. They never filed for the CEPEP worker. They never filed for the worker.
Contractors, they filed.
They filed for the contractor. They filed for the contractor to get a contract back, to get back his contract, to get back his work. They never filed for but they want to fool people and tell people they care about the worker. They care about the poor man on the street. They don't care about no poor man on the street. I mean, look in 2 months. And segue into your item now. Look in 2 months. Look at the amount of things the new government has done. Look in one international state visit.
Yes.
You have your slide.
Watch at the benefits that was derived from the visit of the Prime Minister of India. All right, guys, you had to bring it up so I could, I don't have my glasses, right? Penny wants to know how much it costs the government, right? Penny, let me add up the cost of everything here, right? And then we go get to the bill. 2,000 laptops for children, 20 dialysis machines, 2 sea ambulances to help save lives, prosthetic limb camp to help 800 citizens walk again, solar panels for government building, $1 million US in agro-processing equipment, access to India UPI digital payment system and DigiLocker tech. You go know about that one. That fall in your garden. Quick impact grants of US 50,000 for small community projects. Training programs in forensics justice. Affordable Indian pharmaceuticals through a new MOU. Now, people is talking about the pharmaceuticals coming from India. But that is work. And it's cheap.
Correct.
When you have to buy these drugs that come in, the original drugs, you cannot, who could afford that?
Yeah.
That is real dollars. So Penny, I want you to add up all this. Add it up. I'm sure the cost will come in time. And I think we should get an idea how much it costs.
Yeah,
I think we should.
I think we should weigh the yam seeds and the 2,000 laptops and let's see which one costs more. Come now, man.
Anybody hear about any yam seed germinating as yet? I don't know yam seed. 10,000 yam seed. I would say 10,000 yam seeds. Yeah. I want to know if any germinating as yet. If anybody get any yam seeds, let us know, please, because if you ain't planted, it might dry and die out or so. If they preserve it with the chemical and all that.
Yeah.
So let us know how much yam seeds germinate.
Yeah, after 10 depressing, tumultuous, torturous years, we finally have a government. That cares about the people. I want to use that D word there. Can't use that here. cares about the people of Trinidad and Tobago. A government that plans policies meant to increase our wealth, health, and education. You know, last Monday was Monday Night Report, hosted by the Prime Minister in Penal. And she didn't just come to talk at the people, you know. She came to report to the people. The buffing, the hoggish behavior we saw last time. We're not seeing that this rounds, you know. And it was about, and you touched on it, it was about promises delivered so far in 67, 68 days, thereabouts. Because what we have is a government that is people-centered, family-driven, and anchored in reality, not fantasy. And I heard the Prime Minister lay out plans and efforts to recalibrate the country. Now, and it's not just about numbers and policies and so on, it's about the people, it's about us. It's about health, children's education, roads, jobs, safety, safety for your loved ones, safety for what you care about, safety for your home, firearm legislation. Now, some might say, well, it's too soon to see change. But to those people, I say, Rome wasn't built in a day.
Correct.
Rome wasn't built in a day. And it certainly wasn't destroyed in 10 years. But we had a PNM government that nearly destroyed us in 10 years.
Nearly?
Brought us to the brink,
Because right now, we'll touch on that one after. You continue with your...
So this government has already scrapped the PNM's political toy called the TTRA, right? I mean, the staff, the BIR was only 35, 36% employed, and they starve it to justify the TTRA. We scrapped that. That was an imbalance of revenue generating against the citizen. In other words, they were going to tax the citizens, the regular poor man, over and over and over again, in an imbalanced manner against the rich, the high society. And we also saw that this government is bringing legislation to protect you and your home, your family. And no more letting bandits run into your place while law-abiding citizens have to hide from prisoners. We see stand your ground legislation being proposed. It's not just a law, it's a declaration. And we see that now the policy is, if you come into my house with violence or the intent to commit violence in your heart, don't expect to leave with clean hands or hands at all. You know, and for those saying, but what about the guns? What about the pepper spray? Well, what about them? The criminals have it, and under the PNM, it was easier for gangsters to get guns than the grandmother to get protection. So we finally have a sort of balancing of the scales, or at least an effort to. We commend that. So as I say to those naysayers, those freelancers on social media, the recalibration effort is real. And the foundation is us, the people. It's in our healthcare, our education, our public roads, our public works, laws that defend the innocent and condemn the wicked. We're not just seeing a government running. We're seeing a government preparing a country to stand firm, to stand together, to stand proud, and for us to stand our ground.
Correct.
So I think, as you touched on earlier, the road ahead of us is going to be long. Now start. But as the lyrics of the song go, the journey now start.
David Rudder, boy, you're not easy, boy. I thought you were to say something from the Ramayana. No, Richard, it had a video circulated on Facebook. I don't know if you saw it, where this looked like road rage. It's not here, but I would just want to talk about it.
Okay.
They say it's a road rage. Somebody get bad drive. Now a young person came out his vehicle. He and actually hitting the fella in the pickup. Some serious slash boy. Ageable, yes, an ageable person. That wasn't confirmed. Now here that same person who beaten this ageable man, he do have a father. Suppose it was reverse.
Yeah.
And somebody, his father, I don't know if it was bad drive or if he get the bad drive, the man, I don't know the whole scenario with it, right? But just suppose now was his father who was on the receiving end. How he would have felt. He hit the man some serious slash on his head, you know. Serious. Let me say, for instance, the man had a firearm now. And he didn't know that. And he fell up, the man pulled the firearm and busted on him.
Right. You'd have been able to defend himself.
Because his life at risk.
Correct.
So you see these things, but I don't know, some people and young persons, boy, got a little tolerance. It's a little tolerance, you know. That is all you have to have. People just on edge for every little thing. Yes, you will get a little bad drive on the road. You know, sometimes people tend to, you might have the indicator on and they watch their review, but this time it have a little blind spot on your mirror, and you might pull, but you make no contact with them.
Yeah.
But it wasn't deliberate. Some people will consider that as a bad drive.
Yeah.
So that fellow who hit this old man, brother man, here what's going on? Think twice. If that was your father or your mother who does drive, if she drive in, if it was her, forget gender now, is bad drive we talking about, and somebody to come out and hit your parents some hard cuff in the head, if you would have liked that.
So nobody helped the older
You
gentleman?
actually see somebody videoing it. That is what I don't understand with people, you know. You see people so fearful of rendering assistance. Because you know sometimes when people go to render assistance, they end up getting the blows.
Yeah.
So that is what has happened to us. It's really ridiculous, but I feel it for the little old man boy.
And allegedly at the far bad drive.
Well, they say it's a bad drive. The road rage. They say road rage.
Yeah.
So that was so ridiculous.
I think I saw something on Facebook. One of those NGOs starting to do anger management training in which is it? One of those advocate groups starting to do training in secondary schools, anger management training, peer pressure training, and so on, to help the children as they grow manage their anger in a more appropriate manner, you know. And as we say that, I think, guys, we have it here. Police in schools for new term. This is one of the smaller issues I had captured for this week. It's simply in line with the government's policy to sanction and penalize those disruptive children in schools and prevent that disruption from seeping into the lives of children who actually want to learn. So we see on Monday, the Prime Minister said that the government will deploy police in high-risk schools. So she's asked the Minister of Health to provide, based on statistics only, which schools are more likely to have fights, violence against teachers, parent-on-parent violence, parent-on-teachers violence. These are real things. I mean, we know this. We saw it for 10 years in the social media. We saw a lot of videos and stuff circulating with parents beating students beating teachers, and so on. So based on those statistics, the Prime Minister has asked the Minister of Health to prepare a list of schools in order of priority who needs the assistance of the police, and hopefully those schools will also be given priority for the anger management sessions to deal with the root cause of these issues. You come back to me now, guys. To deal with the root cause of these issues of fights and violence in schools and so on. So we will see it tackled as a two-pronged approach. We will see the ones that have gone too far for help will be treated with elsewhere, not in the school system, and the ones that can be saved and salvaged, I think they'll be dealt with through these sessions. You know, when I was in school, we had something called Boy Meets World. It was a session essentially like that, where they sort of graft you and incorporate world knowledge into you to deal with difficult situations and help manage, manage yourself, your emotions, your feelings, and so on. So I think that kind of presence in a school will help us all, and will get the younger generation up to the standard and the level that I think we need, so that the workplace starts to look a bit different, the streets start to look a bit different, and hopefully that will, maybe not in my lifetime, maybe not in your lifetime, but hopefully for our children, they will start to see safer roads without that road violence, without that anger on the roads and the streets, without that need to just jump out the car and beat another human being, you know. Hopefully it gets there.
What about deans and social workers in these schools? We don't have, they're supposed to have a social worker in a region or some.
No, I think every secondary school, has a psychiatrist or a therapist.
Not the dean. That is to help them psychologically.
Yeah. I think it has this is separate from dean of discipline and those things. Those things are school appointed. But no, I think the ministry sends at least one per school. And I remember the Prime Minister during the campaign trail saying that, you know, the government is going to start sending registered nurses to schools as well, and then more than one psychiatrists trained in different fields and so on. So I think we're going to start to see that. But as I said, Rome wasn't built in a day, so we're going to start to see those things unfold slowly but surely. Right now, step one is to get those police in high-risk schools, and financing is also a balancing act, a need versus capabilities kind of situation, a need for it versus the financing we have for it. So I think starting with the police is a good start, and I think we will start to see more investments made in the psychological aspect, deep-rooted aspect of it very shortly.
While you're on the primary school, we could probably go to the clip with Dolly.
Oh, yes.
Dolly.
Mm-hmm. You know, she was the one who
Dolly
stopped.
Disappointed CSC Awards return.
Yeah, you know, she was the one that stopped
what planet is woman on, boy?
Yeah, and she don't like it.
I think they should stop all medals from Olympics. Let it just run.
Yeah, and give everybody a participation.
And say thank you very much. Get them a document saying, all right, you get gold medal, I put it in paper for you. This is to motivate the children.
Yeah.
To excel.
Correct.
You want to take that away from them?
Yeah.
Then why give out president medal for advanced level?
Right. Correct.
You understand?
Yeah.
This is the foundation from the primary school.
Mm-hmm.
Let the children try their best. You know, children will try harder to get the medal.
Yeah. Yeah, the prize must be something. If
you aim it for that.
Yeah. Why would I try hard if there's no prize at the end?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So she a complete failure.
Absolutely.
A complete failure. So I don't know.
And I don't know who dressing her either, boy.
Oh my God.
Oh God.
Yeah. I saw this woman with a red dress in the, I think was the.
She stand up here and the clothes finishing by the end of the table.
I don't know what's going on with these people in this place. Way. They're not even dressing properly to let the women and MC let me dress appropriately. Mm-hmm. It's Parliament you're going for, Evans.
Yeah.
It's Parliament.
Yeah.
Them think it's a carnival fete.
Yeah.
Real ridiculous.
Yeah. But you're right. She's a failure as a minister of education. She's a failure as a minister as a whole. And I think she should rock back and watch a real minister of education handle it. Somebody comes from my education background. Somebody who is an educator himself. Rock back and watch Dr. Dowlat work.
Yeah, I heard someone was talking about same Gatsby Dolly. Yeah? They say since the age of 10, she is a PNM member, no? Since the age of 10. No?
Mm-hmm. And she.
So show you at the age of 9, 10, they indoctrinating your children. They brainwashing them. They can't think outside of that, you know. Mm-hmm. They can't think outside of that, you know, because I remember quite clearly in 1986, I will never forget that, when I was going to join the, NAR was now coming in the scene. Big fella, ready to vote. Everybody say, boy, now is the time to vote PNM out, because you see what's going on in the country. Mm-hmm. This big man watch me and say, boy, I can't vote NAR, you know. He say, if parents only get to know he vote NAR, they put him out of the house. So I tell him, I says, how they going to know who you vote for? So it shows you that there is brainwash them children and let them know PNM giving them things. is not P&M giving you anything, you know. The government has to provide the facilities for you. The government of the day, whether it be P&M, whether it be UNC, whether it be Patriotic Front or whosoever.
Yeah.
They are the government, they provide all the facilities. And you have to take advantage of it. If you don't do it, who's going to do it for you? But when they brainwash you like a cult, what do you expect? They cannot get out of it. They that dependency syndrome.
Yeah, and then you're so unable to see past your own biases. You're unable to see past your own prejudice, that you can't see the performance right in front of you. You can't see the development right in front of you. You can't see the betterment right in front of you. And I just want to bring one example to the forefront. Guys, the first image, let's get that up, and in the top right-hand corner, there's a chart. I just want to make reference to that. I know the time is short. I know you're all going to tell me to start taking calls just now. Top right-hand corner, please. There are things in this I wanted to discuss outside of this, but I'll just go swiftly along. This is, of course, in relation to the restructuring of WASA. Right? I think it's been in the public domain for long enough. Everybody knows what has happened in WASA. The current government said it was top-heavy. There are changes being made, restructuring exercise, P&M frothing at the mouth talking about people going home. Let's scroll along to the chart, please. Let's look at what are the changes being made. Yeah, that chart. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Now, you are a WASA man. Transformation plan in the P&M term, this is what they wanted to do. 37 executives. Under the UNC, 9. Right? Heads, 75. Revised with the UNC, 33. So we're cutting off executive and heads, not workers, not daily pay, not work. Executive people whose salary is what? 35,000 a month, and heads, which is what, about 25,000 a month, if not more. Right? Look at how much is saved. First of all, with the P&M, they were spending only in executive and head positions. They were spending an annual cost of almost 70 million. Right? UNC has reduced that to 30.8 million and saving 39.1 million. Saving 39.1 million to help improve your WASA lines, your 4-inch main, we now have money to increase it to 6-inch mains. Your lines that are leaking in Penal, Rock Road, M2 Ring Road, Tabakit, and so on, Maruga, those lines constantly flooding, now have money to replace those leaking lines. So you look at this kind of progress, look at this kind of difference, and tell me if $39.1 million just by adjusting some executive and some head positions, not like what the P&M does, send home, you can come back to me now, send home the whole appoint leases, send home all TSCT workers, send home all carry limited workers, not like that to save money, look at that restructuring exercise.
And you get massive savings.
And they get 39.1 per year, 39.1 million per year.
Now, on this WASA issue, I heard Marvelous Marva talking about where G1 Joseph don't have the experience for that position.
Right. This is the new CEO.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
What experience Marvin had when they gave him the Public Utilities Ministry?
And they say he was experienced and wouldn't come to
and
work.
He didn't know that if it have a leak, it will affect pressure further down the road. And they make he Minister of Public Utilities. And he G1 Joseph has been working in authority for more than 25 years.
Right.
So what more experience you want? Plus, the previous CEO, he was also working WASA. I'm trying to remember his name. Romain. He was working WASA too. And he got the CEO position. How he could have the experience and G1 Joseph can have the experience? Both of them work in the same company.
Yeah. But wasn't it a P&M Prime Minister? Wasn't it Patrick Manning Prime Minister who said that in order to be a minister, you just have to have common sense?
Well, that he was proven wrong there. Because it had one, I think Fitzgerald High educated, we say he had some common sense. So that's wrong.
All right.
He don't even have
I
common
don't think
sense.
he had common sense, but all right.
I think he had no sense. That is what
For
we're going
sure.
So we proved Patrick Manning wrong there. And I think I must pass by Tunapuna Courthouse. I might see Fitzgerald Hines here again.
Working.
He used to be in Tunapuna
You have to
Court.
be careful.
At time I nearly give him a $5, you know. You was begging? When I walk in and I nearly give him a $5 when I watch Gurasi, I say, is that a beggar nice Fitzy boy? You see, that's how things is. But we after 9.
I know you have one video you want to address.
That is which one now?
The last video.
That is which.
Yeah, that one.
And we spoke with that in the beginning, or we didn't?
No, we didn't.
All right, all right, guys. We won with the El Presidente.
Oh yes, I think we did.
We did that.
Was it?
But the excuse she making with gender, bringing in gender into it. Now, remember the saying that the Constitution doesn't cater for independent senators. You, Mr. Attorney, let me hear you on that.
Well, first of all, this is my thing, right? We have a female prime minister, a female opposition leader, and a female president. We've lauded them all. We've praised them all ad nauseum. We went to heavens and back praising the 3 women leaders we have in this country because they're women and they rose to the height of their political landscape as women. And we also saw and were reminded quite recently that our president received the highest award by the Indian Prime Minister recently as a woman, and even referring to her as President Kangaluji. Correct? So we're reminded of that honor bestowed on our president by one of the great powers of this, one of the great democracies of this world, one of the nuclear powers of this world. And now we have the president herself claiming that she's being picked on because she's a woman, but we just praised you because you were a woman. I'm not seeing the link, I'm not seeing the connection, I'm not seeing how one, and I mean, these aren't months apart or years apart that you're saying that these are just hours apart, mere hours. So I'm at a loss for how that could be the defense. But let's get into the point that you were raising. You were saying that the whole entire argument is born from what seems to be independent senators really being backbench PNM senators.
Right.
That allegation that's swirling around. And some people are saying, well, they're independent, so you can't tell them anything. So people have started looking at the Constitution to see how they are appointed and all of that. Let me tell you something. Remember that a case a couple months ago where Gary Griffith was suing somebody, one of those bloggers, and the judge said, because he's the commissioner of police, he has to have thicker skin than usual.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Okay. We all know Pandey and Gordon, that case. Judge Privy Council said, Pandey, because he's a politician, requires a thicker skin.
What about the nasty thing they say about Ms. Bissessa?
Correct. And she not suing every 2 minutes for defamation?
She ain't come out and crying wolf.
Right. Good. So it's law, it's settled law, that if you're in the public arena, you're a public figure, you have a thicker skin than the average person. All right? Independent senators or senators appointed by the president are politicians. All senators, all MPs, all members of parliament, whether they sit in the lower house or the upper house, are politicians. They are persons in public life. The independent bench, the jurisprudence behind the independent bench is to allow and permit those persons who are not represented through the lower house or through the upper house to have a voice. It is not a place for one man, one voice. It is not a place where you, if you are appointed an independent senator today, for you to go there and express your personal opinion, because that will be your one man's opinion. It is a place where you are supposed to come there with expertise, background information, and speak on behalf of a sector of society that may be left out of the general discussion of the legislative reform being discussed. That's what it is. That is why we have the unspoken rule that every member of the independent bench must come from a different sector of society. That's why there's generally one lawyer, somebody from civil service, somebody from industrial relations, and so on.
Right.
So on. Because they are supposed to speak on behalf of those specialized sections of society. It is not for them to go there and express their own personal opinion. That's the first point. The second point is, they are politicians expressing the views of society. They are politicians, they are persons in public life, they are persons who exercise and help us exercise our democracy. And therefore, just like everybody else in the Red House, including the Speaker of the House and the President, just like everybody else in the House, they are subject to public criticism. Because they are expressing the public's view. So if they are expressing my view incorrectly, I have a right to correct them. I have a right to reach out and say that is not my view. And they, of course, have to exercise their discretion on what sector of society they're speaking on. So when you tell me that you, as an independent senator, are not voting to expand the Children's Life Fund, to allow more access to life-saving surgeries, to bring doctors from away, which will be cheaper, to bring doctors from away to do life-saving surgeries for children, for babies. When you tell me that you vote against that because of a sector of society voice that concern, I want to see the sector of society. I want to see who said that. I want to see which advocate group, which profession, which sector of society you spoke on behalf of. When you vote against the Prime Minister's Pension Act amendment, when you spoke against leveling the playing field between the Prime Minister and those in the public service, everybody else in the public service, leveling the playing field meaning everybody must serve at least 1 year in the substantive post before they qualify for pension. When you said that should not apply to the Prime Minister, what sector of society are you speaking on behalf of? Which sector of society? A one house in Westmoreland, perhaps? A one house in Diego Martin, probably? What sector of society? What group? What catchment of people? That's what I want to know. See, I'm vexed, you know.
Yeah, you're getting real
I'm vexed.
Richard, time going by. We had to take a break and come back and let
No problem.
Let me get the phone call come in. Guys, let's take a break and we'll come back and open the lines.
Introducing the finest selection from premium deli and meats. Savor the bold flavors of beef salami, beef pepperoni, and chicken ham. Indulge in our diced beef bacon and perfectly sliced beef bacon. Explore the rich taste of smoked beef and tender roast beef. Treat yourself to our juicy jumbo chicken hot dogs and beef hot dogs. Top it all off with the delicate flavors of smoked turkey breast and our premium whole turkey, all halal certified for your trust. Delivered to you by Chill Foods, Premium Deli and Meats, excellence in every bite.
At Extra Foods, we care for you. That's why we always have the widest variety, the best prices, spacious aisles of total convenience, plus clean, safe surroundings. Let us care for you. Extra Foods, always extra for less.
The power. To shatter the strongest. Conquer the indestructible with Ronex's collection of angle grinders.
Chic Leisure Limited, making life easier. Our renowned great tasting vermicelli comes pre-cut in regular and parch, packaged to make preparation simple. Attention all doubles vendors and roti makers, try our high quality pre-sifted bromate free all-purpose and whole wheat flour, low price and conveniently packaged. For wholesale and retail prices, contact Chic Leisure Limited, Warrenville, Conopia. Chic Leisure Limited, quality you can trust.
Ronix Premium Quality.
Mitsu Air Limited, authorized Mitsubishi air conditioning dealer. No need to replace your air conditioning units ever so often. Split units, cassette, ductable, CTVIF systems and much more. Mitsubishi Electric has long been powering industries and providing solutions for healthy living. Mitsu Air Limited boasts the industry's first 10-year warranty on all parts and labor. Inverter units are also available. Don't hear it, just feel it. Mitsu Air Limited, 246 Eastern Main Road, Barataria. Give us a call at 674-4000 or 675-4000 or email us at mitsu.limited@gmail.com.
Alright, welcome back folks. We have Richard here who is doing some research on some contractors here. CEPEP as usual, this is the CEPEP expert. So let's remind you about our expo July the 17th to the 20th at Baraka Grounds. There are over 70 booths. You might be lucky to get in still, so call the numbers underneath here, 475-2230, 663-4762, 662-6403. Book your spot. Come down at the Baraka Ground. There will be massive a blowout sale on tools. Massive sale on tools. All tools have to be sold because we're making room for new stock. So come on down and have a wonderful time with your family at the Baraka Grounds, 17th to the 20th. All right, Richard. Something I was going to say. Yes. The Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. You recall his statement he made?
Yeah.
Just imagine this man called our TT dollar monopoly money, Baraman.
Yeah.
Monopoly money. And then backtracking now and you know, they're taking out a context and all them things. But his friend Rowley, I never hear use those kind of terms when Rowley was around.
Yeah, never had all that advice. Never proposed how Rowley could improve the economy, the agricultural sector, and so on here. That's why he wants to talk about the agricultural sector. But all of a sudden, he has the world of advice. He's just like the PNM, He's just like the PNM here.
But you see, and if you did come and say that in Trinidad, somebody might do what they do in St. Vincent and Grenadines. Remember that they take a shoe and hit him in the head? It's a shoe or a stone or something, somebody that pelt him and hit him in the head, and burst the head, So let him stay across there and talk.
Yeah, I'm looking at this thing, I'm not saying what it is, I'm looking at this thing here posted by this individual. Let me tell you, it looked like ChatGPT write it, It looked like ChatGPT. Folks, I will address that next week probably.
Yeah,
but I say again, no suit, no claim, no case against CEPEP for this will be successful. None whatsoever.
Let me see a pen, let me write down.
And
just so.
And as
today's what date? Today's the 9th?
9th to the 8th.
9th.
And as God is my witness, the more you file in court,
9/16.
The more you file in court, the more cats will come out the bag. All right? The process for that renewal 5 days before election It's a very interesting process. I think the country wants to hear about.
We will definitely hear more. Hello, good night, caller. Hello.
Yeah, good night. Nazim, good night.
Yes, sir.
Good night, caller.
Yeah, Charlie, Richard, good night.
Good night.
Yeah, concerning them things that they're talking about, I have 3 quick points there.
Listen,
concerning the president, right? You listen, the rest of the country had enough of the PNM partner. And we're looking to move forward. And you see these people who they call independent senators that holding back the rest of the country, the majority, the 99% of it. If they can't get on board, you have to get rid of them, you know. Plain and simple. You have to put people there who looking to better the country, not hold back the rest of the population.
Yeah.
Straight. It's not to talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
And Richard, concerning this FUL situation, right?
Yeah.
Listen, right? I read the article on the papers today concerning certain instructors and things, giving their opinions and things to the firearms unit and the government and whatever and things, right?
Yeah.
Let me tell you something, right? My personal take on that is that they talk about persons getting denied and everything, right? Let me tell you something. In order for a file to reach the commissioner to get signed off, that file supposed to have everything on the file checked already, you know?
Correct.
Because they have people doing background checks and then they have other officers doing double background checks on people filing, you know? So when it reaches the commissioner supposed to know, hey, everything done check out on the 30th, just approve and send out, you know?
Correct.
Not to deny people file, because let me tell you something. People spending money, they get passport size pictures, certificates of character, go and get all these medical, psychiatric evaluation, drug tests, all kind of things. Then when you do get a provisional now, they're sending you now to go and get a certificate of competence, which costs you nothing less than $1,500. And then when you go outside, you know, and your file reach up to the commissioner, because of whatever reason, if there might be legal pressure, political affiliation to certain party, whether they don't like you or not, wherever company you come from, they're denying you. And listen, my personal opinion to that, Richard, is that this commissioner and this government should have tried to pull people's files back who was denied and give them a review to at least see if they was done fairly or not. Because you can't expect a man to be fighting up for 4 years and then you deny the man file and tell him reapply. That ain't making sense. Because then you have to go through that whole process. You understand what I'm saying?
All
Yeah.
right.
And before I go, Richard, you know, you're familiar with Cemetery Road in Charleville, right?
Yeah.
Right. I want you to pass through that road anytime you come in. And I want you to look from Charleville side, come down. They pave a piece of the road from Charleville to the cemetery. Listen to me carefully, eh? They pave that before election. And after election, they repave part of that road. Now you tell me what is the reason that they repave a good road for and the rest of the road real bad. I'm trying to figure that logic out, but I'm not making no sense.
But just watch the name of the road.
Yeah, but you pave over a good road, partner, and the rest of the road real bad. You can ask Richard, because Richard know the road. Anyway, fellas, I don't want to take up too much of your time.
All right, cool, man, thanks.
Enjoy the night.
Yeah. Hello, good night, caller. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, good night.
Good night.
Yes.
I'm talking to the lawyer.
Yes, you are talking to the lawyer now.
All right. Lawyer Jagifa, good night.
Good night, Auntie. How are you?
I owe some of the halfway. Just now it's time to reach by the bank academy.
Nah, don't worry, you have plenty time.
All right. What I call for, I want to know where a client wants to come to you. Right? Where you have the office, I put your number, and I will give them the number, where your office that they can come, they will call it tomorrow.
Tell she didn't come on, Richard, tell her your office number. You have a pen and paper? You have a pen and paper?
Yeah.
All right, he calling out the number for you now.
615-615-6000. It's an easy number to remember. 615 6000.
615 6000.
That's correct.
That's it. All right? Call anytime.
How far do I have to go to your office, Shagona?
Yeah, the office is in Shogunas and Ramsran Street. Just call now and somebody will help you out. Give you directions and so.
If they come in from Old Village and things, well, they could be to Shagona, sir.
Yeah, the office is in Shogunas, Auntie.
Right by Price. Is Price Club?
All right,
Yes.
I just look at this program, boy. I will just tell Insham that God bless him, and I just really look at all your program. Will you keep good, eh?
Yes, and
Thank
you
you.
take care of yourself. Okay.
God bless you.
Chat client again, boy. Hello, good night, caller. Hello.
A very good evening and assalamu alaikum to you, gentlemen.
Walaikum salam.
So I'm going to make two very quick points and you will see how they correlate with each other. So some years ago, my house was broken into twice. The good thing is the person was held and he went to prison for that, and then he came out of prison, and not too long ago he was charged for murder and he is chewing in prison again. So I was vindicated. But I want to show you the correlation now with the next point. I am the person who talked about Juliet Davy and the boy from Karma, when he lost the competition and he said throw something on stage and he was taken to task for an incitement. But when Juliet Davy said, run in the house, jump the wall, and deal with them. So after having two break-ins and was traumatized, the entire family was traumatized. And years after to hear a person saying something like this, jump the wall, jump the fence and deal with them, it resurrected that trauma and that old memory. And now that she is taken to task for her mouth, that tiny little mouth, get that big body, it is so much a problem, over $500,000 problem. Even though it wasn't me who filed the defamation case, I feel vindicated too. All the best. Have a great evening. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, man.
Yeah, congratulations
All right,
to the
Richard.
lawyers. And
You take this one. This is your call.
Good night, caller. You're live.
Yes, assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam, caller.
Salam.
I would like to draw something to you guys' attention. Let's just assume that those documents are proper documents, because I don't think you all coming up with things there too. And under the new Office of Procurement regulations, if a company is not registered and a company don't have all their tax clearances and all of that up to date, and they get a contract from the government, that company is in a lot of problems, plus the people who gave that contract, you know.
Agreed.
So there's a can of worms opening up for all who get contracts and wasn't registered properly under the new OPR regulations, you know.
Correct. And nothing is wrong with scrapping that unlawful process and pausing it for an audit.
Yes, nothing is wrong. Nothing is wrong with all of that. But my point is, if contracts were given to a company that is not registered under that OPR regulation, right, that is a lot of problem for the people who gave the contract also, you know.
Yes, especially the persons who sign off on that.
So, over my 50-year period, I have been monitoring politics in Trinidad. I've never seen any politician make jail yet. So, me and know what will happen now.
Don't worry.
Right?
No way that politicians make jail,
very pleasant evening, right?
That Pandey.
Yes, sir.
That Mahatma Gandhi.
Local we talking about.
He's a local.
Mahatma Gandhi?
Yeah, he perform a local there.
Hey, hello, good night, caller. Hello?
Hello, I'd like to make an observation on breaking barriers.
Yes, sure, go ahead, you're live.
Yes, okay. I just want to make an observation.
Sure.
I could tell you about it.
Yeah, once it is.
I'm not saying, it's not clear enough then the two people there, like the desk is way back. It should be a little nearer so we could see them.
Or
You understand what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
You did not.
Well, we could talk to the guys inside and see if they could bring us up a little closer, because this is our normal shot, but we'll make the necessary adjustment. And that's your contribution? She go on.
You hear that, Justin? You hear that, Justin?
Hello, good night, caller. Oh, an image not as sharp, eh? Hello, good night, caller.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
You asked if we got yam seeds, but no, we got yam peas.
Yam
You
peas?
got early in the morning?
Thank you.
That when you get the yam pea early in the morning?
I think we lost the call. Oh, she hung up. She made a joke and she gone.
You hear that?
Yeah, then we got yam seed, we got yam pea.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and penny don't make sense.
I don't know. Yeah. Hello, good night, caller. Hello?
Hello, good night, gentlemen.
Good night.
Good night, caller.
Okay, so I would like to make 3 quick points.
Yes.
Like Julia David, I would like to see Rhoda Barrett and Suzette Lauer face similar charges, and I'll tell you why. Rhoda Barrett is quite alarming. Her comments are so disgusting on her social media posts that it sometimes incites some of the most crude comments. So I am hoping that strong legislation is put in place to deal with people like Rhoda Barrett. Now, I know Suzette Lauer is not presently in our country. She's in the Netherlands. But Mr. Jagisa, how possible is it, because she uses her platform to disrespect our Honorable Prime Minister in every comment that she makes? Mr. Jagisa, is it possible, my question to you is whether through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs something cannot be done in terms of making an objection to the kind of comments that she makes, because it is disgusting, it is inappropriate, and it's about time that we deal with people like Rhoda Barrett and Suzette Lauer.
Yeah.
Finally, I would like to say, in the same way that the 5 students were charged when they had pounced on that other child, we are hoping to see change of behavior. We are hoping that after they face the consequences of their actions, that they would desist from that kind of behavior. So I want to see people behind bars. You see all this information we get in as a public, our cup is overflowing. I want to see people behind bars, whether it's PNM financiers, whether it's the contractors, whether it was a former minister, behind bars for them. We have had enough. And finally, there is nothing like independent senators with those independent senators. When I heard Mr. Megu talk about where they were from, they were all from the North area. Nobody was chosen from Central. Nobody was chosen from South. They are all living in the North. How can somebody not know what people in South go through? So it's geographical
discrimination,
short-sightedness. Why couldn't you choose somebody from South or Central, Princeton, Moruga, Cedros, Itak, wherever? So how would they know about the hours of traffic that people face on a daily basis? How would they know that we don't have water in our pipes for days, weeks, months? So the president saying now that she's being, attacked and all that, nonsense. President Kangaloo, we see straight through you. You are not independent, and frankly, I am very disappointed in you. Gentlemen, have a good night, and thank you for the opportunity to say a few words.
All right, you're welcome.
You're welcome, you're welcome.
Hello, good night, caller. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Yes, good night. Good night, Mr. Brother. I'm calling to tell Mr. Dagestan that I always watch the problem. I love him I love him. I pray for him all the time because he's young and brilliant. And I would like to tell him that I will love him, and he just resembles my grandson. So I will be watching him all the time. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Paula.
Your grandson.
Thank you so much, Paula. Thank you so much. Always a pleasure. And the caller, well, thank you for that. For those comments, and always a pleasure to hear from everybody.
Boy.
Always a pleasure to hear from everybody. Oh, there's a caller.
Hello, good night, caller.
Good night, good evening.
Good evening.
I'm trying to get into the program.
Yes, go ahead, you're live.
Yes, sir. I'm about Trinidad and Tobago, Soca Warriors, Bacchanal name change. So why can't they change the name to just TNT Warriors? And you go to Soca.
Well, boy, we are in a carnival country, so they had to put the Soca.
No, it is under ownership by another individual. So just change the Soca into TNT Warriors.
Well, boy, you have to take that with the administrators.
Yeah, they're asking for advice to change the name. Okay, then? Good night.
Yeah, man, cool.
All right, caller, good night, thanks.
TNT Warriors instead of TNT Soca Warriors. Nothing too much in that.
No. All right.
We at 7:32. We go in 2 minutes. However, Justin will be packing his bag already.
Yeah, he took a bit just now.
So
thank you so much for calling in.
Yeah, we have reached the time where we have to sign off now. So it was interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. At least the legality of the what you said. And with the CEPEP, which is raising a lot of eyebrows.
A lot of questions need to be answered.
Yes. So, folks, I just want to let you all to be safe. The roads are wet. Take your time. And I'll catch you next week. And don't forget, Brilliant open from Friday at 2 p.m. Come and get your burgers, your shrimp Alfredo, chicken Alfredo. We have barbecue chicken.
And the wings.
Barbecue lamb, wings. Come down to Brilliant. Friday open from 2 p.m. Richard, all is yours.
Thank you so much for having me. Once again, another week on the show. Thank you so much for letting me elaborate on these current issues, these national points. It's always good to hear from people. And I love interacting with the people. It's become like second nature now, meeting people who know me from the show and stuff. So if you ever see me, I really appreciate it. This week, I think today or yesterday, somebody approached me as I was walking into the office. When you're using doubles in QREP, somebody will call you out. When you go into the grocery, somebody might say hi to you. So, I hope that I never change. I will try not to. Try to continue to be, down to ordinary, regular. That's the lifestyle I grew up in. That's what I hope to be, because it gives me access. It gives me that gateway into people's lives and to understand where they come from. So, I never get where that air is too thin. I never forget where I come from. So thank you for that opportunity on this show and to elaborate in other people's lives. So always appreciate it. Thanks for having me. See you again next week, Wednesday. And look forward to hearing from some of you on social media, on Facebook and so on. And look forward to seeing most of you out there in Trinidad and Tobago.
Okay, folks. Good night.